So I'm Andy. Very conscious. This is the end of the day for you all. Very grateful to be here. So I'm going to take 25, 35 minutes. I'm going to keep this quick. So I'm the founder of Tracebit, which is a security company that actually disagree with John. We think alerts are a good thing. We think a very, very small number of alerts that indicate intrusions, compromise, something that indicates something you need to jump on and react to very quickly is very important. That's what we do. My background, hacking computers as a kid. I've actually spent the past 15 years building software rather than breaking it. Most recently, before I founded Tracebit, I was the head of engineering at an email security company called Tessian. So I grew that team from 700 people, and I was also responsible for our security program for most of my time there until we had a CISO. And it was experiences I had there that led me to think Tracebit was a valuable company to go and build. The topic of this talk is what's different about canaries this time. When I talk about canaries in the context of computer security, does everyone know what I mean by that? Like, you get it? Okay, amazing. Just to kind of quickly set the context, the word canary comes from canary in coal mine, which was, the idea was an early indicator that you needed to get out of the mine very quickly. If the canary fell over, it meant there was too much carbon dioxide in the mine, and it was an early indicator that something was wrong. And for us, canaries are just the same, but we do them in the cloud. So to give a concrete example about something that we do, we deploy canary S3 buckets into AWS organizations. So if you imagine you have hundreds and hundreds of S3 buckets in your org, and you want to know about compromise, you want that one alert that indicates something bad has happened on one of those buckets. I'm sure a lot of people here will know that's really, really difficult to do. We flip that problem on its head, and we say, well, let's just create some buckets in that environment that should never be interacted with. They should never be read from. If anyone touches them, that's very suspicious behavior. So that's fundamentally the premise. It's a very, very clear signal, very clear indicator that there's something wrong and you can jump on. That's what I mean when I talk about canaries. And really the goal of that is to implement assume breach, be able to detect with a lot of precision a compromise in your environment. So I am going to be very, very quick in trying to convince you why I think you should care about canaries in 2024, because it's probably something you've heard about before. It's probably like an idea that you've heard a lot about. So one reason I think canaries are a valuable thing to pay attention to today is, unlike a lot of security products, there's actually like scientific research evidence that they might be a good idea. So there's a study called the Tularosa study, which basically did a really interesting experiment where they took 120 red teamers, they split them into 4 different groups. Some thought there was deception, canaries are a kind of deception. Some thought there wasn't, and in some cases there were, and in some cases there wasn't. And they tested to see like who actually was slower, who was less effective. And the TLDR is that both deception being in an environment and the perception of deception being in an environment slowed down those red teams and made them less effective in their attacks. Or if you'd prefer some anecdotes, the person who thought there wasn't deception and wasn't up against deception honed every asset. And one of the people who was in an environment where there was deception and thought there was deception had a frustrating time. And the vulnerabilities, the potential for exploit in these environments, was identical. It was just deception in different environments.
Was that quote from a false one or a true deception?
Sorry, which quote?
The quote on the right, is that from a placebo or from a...
So this was in the group which perceived deception and there was deception. So they went in and got told...
It was a mixture, it wasn't a three-way.
There was 4, so some there was nothing. You didn't get told it, and there wasn't, and that plays out.
That quote whether frustration actually from a placebo environment.
Yeah, in this case, it's hard to know. They probably hit.
It may do it.
Yeah. Well, they probably got impacted by the thought of deception and hitting deception as well. So yeah, the double whammy for that person. So that's reason one. Like, there is actually data, there's actually evidence this could be a good idea, and the psychological impact as well could be powerful. Another reason that's worth a look is the NCSC would quite like you to, especially if you're a British company, and especially if you're working with critical national infrastructure. So the NCSC announced this a couple of months ago. They're actually encouraging businesses in the UK to start having a look at this. They've set some interesting targets, like deploying 2 million tokens around like British companies. And I think the NCSC are a pretty legit organisation, but one of the reasons I think you can think about this is they probably having access to intel and information that certainly vendors don't have access to. So that's probably a compelling reason for me, at least. But finally, the reason that I founded the company with my co-founder Sam, it really comes down to is like this just really does sound to reason. So I used to work at an email company. We did AI to detect phishing emails. That's one of the features we did. There was value in that. I wouldn't have been working on it if there wasn't value in that. But actually reasoning about will this email be detected or will this email be detected was really, really difficult. And some emails that you thought would be detected wouldn't, and vice versa. It was hard to reason whether these models would make a prediction you thought they would make. A canary is much, much more simple than that. You have things you care about, you put other things near them that look like them, that should never be interacted with, and when they are, you go and have a look. It's just a very, like if you're thinking about your big complex security stack and all the fancy AI tooling you might be putting on there, this is a very nice, simple complement to that tooling. So I will compress this pitch about the company that I'm building very, very quickly. But in terms of like what we're doing with canaries, just very, very briefly, we focus on cloud native types. We think there's a lot more opportunity in cloud. Like the old school honeypots were very clunky to deploy. The signals they produced weren't very rich. An S3 bucket is very lightweight to deploy. We do a lot more than just S3 buckets. That's just an example I've been using. But very, very lightweight. The signals they produce are a lot richer. So that's our focus. We do heavy recommendations with the product. So we'll actually coach you through, scan your environment, make suggestions, tell you what to do, give you guidance. And it really is turnkey. To give you two anecdotes, we have one customer who got us out to nearly 10,000 workstations in 15 minutes because of our integration with their MDM provider. We have another customer who deployed us out to their entire AWS organization, 50 AWS accounts, in 45 minutes. They put our Terraform module in the right place and kaboom, thousands of canaries were deployed across that org. So that's what we do differently. What's the vision? I've kind of hinted at cloud, and that's what we've been talking about at the moment, and we're at the CSA, so you'd hope so. But really our vision for Tracebit is this canary idea has got a lot of legs, and it's actually something you can deploy across your org. So it doesn't just need to be cloud, it can be endpoint, it can be identity. And we actually think that by bringing automation to this, we take this tool and technique.
Collaboration environment, if nothing else, right?
Indeed, yeah. Well, let's talk about Salesforce, those places. Like, yeah, we think if we can make this like truly automated and truly deliver on these like low volume, highly actionable alerts, it's something we can bring to the 100% security teams rather than just the 1%. And to give you a bit of an idea of where we're planning on going with that, there's a whole kind of gamut of places we think are really excited for canaries, your Slack history, your email, Google Workspaces. Today we're public cloud, we're identity, and we're SDLC, but we're very excited about going a lot further than that. But I will finish there and let you all get back to your beer and pizza. And thanks for your time.